What's up, party people? How you doing? Happy Friday Eve. Hope all is well with you. Jump through a couple things here. Obviously, big day tomorrow. Trump meeting with the Pooter. A lot. I got asked this a lot today. What do you think's going to happen? I'll tell you what I think's going to happen. Nothing. Trump. There's no cards to play. The reality is you can go in there and want to make a deal, but you're bargaining for somebody else, and that somebody else also has a situation where in their constitution, there can't be any kind of land giveaway, without the people, and they're going to have a conversation about that. But the reality of what is going to happen is pretty simple. It's not yours anymore. I mean, Ukraine has fought like you couldn't believe. I mean, I think we can all admit that, whether you think, Ukraine's evil and bad, it's real. The right in particular, it's America first. That's, of course, if it's Israel. Then it's Israel first, then America. But they fought like hell. There's not a lot you're going to be able to say about this. And it's sometimes you got to realize that there's nothing that's going to come out of this where you get all that land back. It just ain't going to happen. That shit ain't going to happen. It is not going to happen. I don't, and people today are like, no, Trump's playing 40 chess. He's not. He's tamping it down. It's like, look, I hope it'll be okay. We'll see what happens. A possibility that it might not go great. He doesn't have any of the cards. So they're going to go in there tomorrow, and he's going to do whatever he thinks he can do. Trump always thinks he can talk his way into a situation where he can get an upper hand. But I think he recognizes they're making massive strides. The average age is well over 40 for the Ukrainians. Think about that for a second. The average age is over 40 on the battlefield for the Ukrainians. That's insane. He's always thought, okay, it's an act, it's attrition now. This is what this war is going to be. It's attrition. We'll see what it looks like when all is said and done. But I have a feeling 18 to 20% is going to end up with Russia. It's already Russia's. I was watching, I think it was Dave Smith who said last night it's not yours. And it's not Ukraine's. Somebody bigger and badder who is willing to see more of his fellow countrymen and women die to prove his point has imposed his will on you and your will. And you couldn't stop him. And so it's his. We could sit here and, talk all this crazy. Oh, well, what if this? It's his. If Putin wants to keep it, he's going to keep it. We're not going to war for him. We've done enough. We've funded enough. We're not going to war. We wanted to see Ukraine, for us, prove the point. We got to test out some new stuff probably on the battlefield. Show that their military isn't the greatest. And if we were to get into a situation, we're probably going to, we would handle it, and then as long as it's not nukes, because at that point in time, it's mutually assured destruction. So, we saw. And Europe, you want to get more involved? You want to fund it forever? Knock your shit out. I wish Ukrainians the best. God bless them. They have fought their asses off. But at what point in time do you realize, okay, now it's like, what's that saying? Never throw good money after bad money. There's not a lot we can do. It's his. And unless you're going to figure out a way to impose your will with something that maybe we don't know you have, it ain't going to happen. So take what you can get and move on. And yes, that one of those things that you're going to get is an insurance that you're giving up this land and there's going to be peace behind it. And you might have to give it some minerals, but you're not joining NATO. But should he jump again, the Pooter, well, then he'll have to deal with us. And there's the assurance, and everybody moves on. And no more dying. Now, there might be a ceasefire temporarily while they get together. But as far as if Zelensky thinks he's going to get back his land, it ain't going to happen. I think we can all recognize that. Meanwhile, we move over to the Israel Palestine nightmare, and it is a nightmare. And they're saying the quiet part out loud. I mean, the power they have in our politics is insane. And you saw my uncle and I, we battled it last night. The reality of what influence they have over us is crazy. And you're hearing talk now that BB put out, I don't know if you saw this, they did a website in Farsi trying to tell the people of Iran how amazing and great they are, and you guys are struggling with crops, and we've been in that situation, and more and more people are coming out going, look, they're not done with Iran, and don't be surprised the next several weeks. I've heard everything from by the end of this month to for sure by the end of the year, they'll be back at it again. And I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't. I mean, think about all the stuff. They've got the greater Israel, and they're already talking. They're not even pretending anymore because of Palestine. They've authorized, 3,500 new settlements? They're not even pretending anymore. And they also know, too, that this is it or never. All right, this is it. You done. Fuck this one up. Okay, there is no tomorrow with America. There is no more, hey, you know what? The next generation, the millennials, it's weird that we haven't had a Gen X president, but whatever, this younger generation, they want no part of it. They don't want part of Israel. There's a lot of reasons. I mean, Israel, it's funny, when you think about, and I was talking to my mom about, you got to think about Israel. Israel is a country. When people talk about Israel, they always harken back to the Holocaust and the Jews. Well, most people that are younger, they don't remember. They're not taught that. It's not something that's in their mind. They know about it. They're not denying it. But at the same time, that is grandma and grandpa's version of Israel. This version is a brute. This version of what Israel is and again, this is not about Israel. And it's not about whether or not they have the right to exist. They do. It's not about whether or not they have the right to fight back absolutely after October 7th. It's about at what point in time can you stop bullshitting me, okay? And be honest. And the honesty is simply this. You want that land. You're going to take it. Time is running out as far as the goodwill that you've had. You've spent everything you've had. All you have left is us. That's it. All you have left is us. Now, that's big enough. But even then, look at the numbers. They're cratering. And so it's now or never to go in there and take it. And you're going to. And it is going to be, I think it's going to be a shock for a lot of people. What's about to happen. And if you don't think the influence is massive, I'm going to play something. This is Lindsey Graham. It is this weird, freaking bizarre dispensationalism bullshit. If you don't support Israel, God's not going to like you. Crap is crazy.
But tonight, it's late at night, Israel is in a fight for their lives. Our friends in Israel are surrounded by people who would kill them all if they could. I am tired of the word genocide. Let me tell you about genocide. If Israel wanted to commit genocide, they could. They have the capability to do that. They choose not to.
They choose not to because they know how the world's going to react. They choose not to because they know. But they don't have a choice now, right? That's gone. That shit's gone. Now you got no choice but to go for it now, if now or never. And so you can be, I'm sick of the word is genocide. You can be sick of it all you want. You can. The reality is people can see with their own eyes. 184 dead journalists? You won't allow journalists in there? We're not stupid. We're not. Oh, he's just getting started.
Hamas, they would commit genocide in 30 seconds. They just can't. And that's the big difference, folks. To people in my party, I'm tired of this crap. Israel is our friend. They're the most reliable friend we have in the Mideast. They're a democracy, surrounded by people who would cut their throats if they could. This is not a hard choice if you're an American. It's not a hard choice if you're a Christian.
Oh, the Christian.
A word of warning. If America pulls the plug on Israel, God will pull the plug on us.
That is the most horse shit thing, period. That is absolute horse shit. Chad, you're a Christian. You say stuff like that. God's not going to like that. No, he's okay with it. He knows that I curse. And he'll get out. He'll say he's fine. He's fine with it. Because he's sitting there going, who taught these people that? This crazy stuff. Go look at Darby and then Schofield Bible. And it's like, then, late 1800s into the 1900s. It's this wacky world of, plan A, plan B, the Jews, the Christians. And it's none of it's real. It's bullshit. It's crap. It's absolute crap. We are nothing more than an ATM and a giant, huge whooping stick behind him. That's it. And I'm not talking about the Jews. I'm talking about, again, Bibi Netanyahu. I'm talking about the powers that be who are going to do this. The crazy Christian Zionists who think that they're going to hurry up the second coming and the rapture. The hell is wrong with you people? Those are human beings over there. You can't see them? You can't? Well, but Chad, what about the fake, the headlines, this, that, and the other? Oh, okay. Nobody hates the Jews as far as like when you criticize a nation who, by the way, we essentially prop up. That's okay, right? We're supposed to be friends. Well, here's some friendly advice. You fuck this up, dude. Don't screw it up anymore. Call off the dogs. You've done enough. There's nothing more you can do. There's nothing more you can do. At this point, you better rebuild so you can blow shit up if that's your goal. Your people are tired. America's sitting over here trying to figure out what's real and what's not. What's not is you're starving people. You're killing them. Inch by inch, ounce by ounce, pound by pound. That's bullshit. Not my name. And don't tell me, if you don't support Israel, then Jesus isn't going to like you. Fuck off. It's a bunch of horse shit. It is. I am a follower of Christ. I'm a little uncouth at times. Maybe I say some bad things every once in a while, a little cursed sometimes. Okay. But you know what? I love God. I follow Christ. Peacemaker. That's what we should be. Peacemaker. Somebody's yelling at me the other day about, the Muslims, they hate Christians and they hate Jesus. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Jesus is a prophet to them. We do not believe the same thing. He's a prophet to them. In fact, he's coming back. And if you go and look at the Quran, he is coming back. Well, it's not coming. Jesus is. He's there. They held him at least high esteem. Ask you, what do you think of Jesus? Not really. He was it's insane. This, though, isn't really about religion. This really isn't about. Let's take that off. These people like freaking Lindsey Graham is like, you better love Jesus and Israel or Jesus won't love you. It's like, okay, this is about power. And this is good old-fashioned land grab bullshit. Wrap it up however you want to do it. Wrap it up. If you want to talk about, well, this is really about the third temple or this, that. No, this is about grabbing everything you possibly can to expand. Maybe get into some Syria. How about some Jordan? We'll take a little bit of Lebanon, Egypt. We'll knock this wall down. This is about land expansion. This is not about. You may spin it that way, but it is what it is. And we don't need to be funding it. And we don't need our names on guns and bullets and bombs that are killing innocent people. Collateral damage is one thing. This is wholesale slaughter. I don't want to be a party of that. And I think most people out there don't either. And most people, even my uncle, and we got into it last night, he said, it's time for this thing to stop. Because he recognizes, at what point do you stop curb stomping somebody? We move on from there. I love watching people freak out about Trump and the crime thing. The Democrats, and I've said this over, it's not hard to run as a Democrat and beat a Republican, or a Republican running in the non-insane way. And I'm talking about just a straight race. We're not talking about gerrymandering positions and stuff like that. Because the ideas most people want. Pay your fair share of taxes for the wealthy. Okay. Don't punish them for being successful. Give the middle class the opportunity to keep more of their taxes. Have a little bit of a safety net, but not a hammock. Okay? These are, I think they're fairly simple. You would think. And crime is another perfect example. The ridiculousness of how the crazy wackadoo Democrats think that every American thinks, well, this is, we got to be softer on crime. There is none of that. There's a difference between, and we've talked about on my show on numerous occasions. Sometimes people, they do stupid shit. They've not been violent, and they don't need to be stuck in jail for the rest of their life. And they don't need to be stuck in jail for months, losing everything because they can't afford cash bail. That's one thing. Letting people out who've done absolutely insane shit, or people who are taking advantage of, hey, they said if I steal under $900, I could steal as much as I want and they're never going to prosecute me. Or it's common sense, which we lack in today's world. And poll after poll says, hey, people don't like crime, regardless of color, political affiliation, who they love, who they worship, violence, drug deals gone bad, sexual assault, murder. They're not fans of that, no matter what side of the aisle you're on. And that's absolutely, in this poll, this says it right here. And again, the Democrats run at the dumbest ideas.
Yeah, okay. I think this sort of gives the game away here, because Donald Trump is like Air Jordan towering over Joe Biden when it comes to their handling of crime. Look, in 2024, look at where Biden's net approval was on crime. Way underwater there at minus 26 points. It was one of Biden's worst issues. Granted, pretty much every issue was one of Biden's worst issues. And again, look at where Donald Trump is. Way, way, way above Joe Biden. What is that? That's 27 points. So Americans vastly prefer Donald Trump's approach to crime than they did to Joe Biden's. And again, I think it gets back to the point that Americans are far more hawkish on crime than a lot of.
And that's it. It's not hawkish. It's not grab everybody, throw them in jail, build thousands of millions of jails, lock up, throw away the key. It's about being honest. Nobody wants to live in a place where the police are at the point, where they're like, you guys should probably just leave your doors unlocked and your trunk open. That way you don't have to replace all your stuff. They could just steal it willy-nilly. Don't leave anything inside the front seat of your car where it could be stolen. Nobody wants to live that way. That's insane. Nobody wants to live that way. Nobody should. And the people, they always bring it up, it's only brown and black people that Trump, targets an area. It's where the crime is where you go. And guess what? The brown and black people who are Americans, you know what they don't like? Crime. They don't like to be held hostage in their own city by do-nothing DAs and mayors and people who try to placate the worst, because they think if you're hard on them, then you're going to be hard on everybody else. It's insane. When Trump is positive on anything, because and by the way, that's any president at this point in time, because we're so divided. You should go, well, maybe we should listen to that. But they don't. Even Chris Matthews is like, hey, you guys got to stop, stop saying, hey, we do less awful and that's better.
I agree with you. I think this is a strength move against the big cities who are in a difficult situation on crime. And the murder rate, you can't keep saying violent crime is down, but the murder rate's up. To the average person, the murder rate's about life and death. You don't brag about a rising murder rate. And the Democrats are, I agree with you, Mika, they're falling into the trap of defending what's in.
That's it. Stop defending it. People do bad. You want to stop them from doing bad anymore. And we're not talking about the minor crimes, the stupid petty theft and stuff like that, which is ridiculous. But we know what we're talking about. It's common sense. And again, common sense eludes because Democrats are like, well, is that a bad idea? Yeah. How about that one? That's a worse idea? That's the worst idea? That's a good idea? I'm going to go with this one right here, the worst one. I don't get it. They do it, and they're going to continue to do it. And that's why, even with like the PPI numbers came out today, and that's the producer price index. If you know what that is, here's a little, I was explaining it to my wife today. Imagine I have Chad's Donut Emporium, and it cost me 50 cents to make my awesome donut. Based on the stuff that I'm purchasing, right? You know, all the outside stuff, the flour and all this kind of stuff. And I bring it in, and for each donut I make, cost me 50 cents. But now all the prices of the stuff that I purchase to make my donut, they've all gone up. Ooh. So now it's 65 cents to make a donut. So what would you think would happen? Even if I eat some of that, I'm going to pass some of that on to the customer. The prices rise. So there was that. And I said, as bad as those things are right now, and there's this nervousness, because it's a weird economy where it's like people feel confident, but then they also feel a little bit nervous. But for all of that, and for all the chaos around Trump and everything, and so much of that is bullshit, the fact is, the Democrats are so much worse. They're so much worse because they don't know how to talk to people in a regular way. They talk at everybody patronizingly. They think everybody's a victim. They continue to miss the common sense train when it comes to just having a conversation going, hey, what is it do you want out of me representing you? Well, I want this, this, and this. But what about this? We could do that. No, I don't want that. We don't need that. Well, what about this? It's not hard. They make it hard. It's really kind of entertaining to watch somebody take something that should be fairly simple and make it look extremely hard and then sabotage themselves just because they lack the understanding and sense to know better. And that's the modern Democrat Party. And finally, tonight, we're going to play some of this. Gerrymandering the gerrymander is what's going on. And that's the other frustrating part about, modern politics. Is one of the reasons why we have this wild swing in politics where when the maps were a little bit more even and you had to work a little harder to secure your seat, you maybe ran a little bit further to the edges. Okay, so left, you went a little bit lefter, right? You went a little bit righter in the primaries, but to expand the tent, you had to come into the middle. The thing is now, the primaries are far more important than the general for 99% of the things that go on in politics outside of the president's race. Everything else is this way or that way. I mean, and that's it. And so you run, you win, and you know that once I get over this hurdle, because the state I'm in is either red or it's blue or it's this, I got nothing to worry about. Because that person here, we've rigged it so if I win this, you're never going to beat me in the general. So with Texas doing what they're doing, well, California.
Here because Donald Trump on January 6th tried to light democracy on fire, tried to wreck this country.
Okay. Enough with the January 6th. Okay, this is not the gerrymandering world is not January 6th. Was I a fan of what Trump did? No. Did I think it was stolen? I didn't. Were there some issues? Potentially, yes. Did you have your chance? Absolutely. And I don't know why, let's be real. A lot of shit happened. A lot of shit was weird. That I'm not going to say that didn't happen, but I don't care if you're right and left. Move past it. We're past that moment now. We're past. It's time to move. And apparently they think that works on everything.
Tried to steal an election, as Alex just said, by trying to dial in for 11, almost 12,000 votes. And here we are, in open and plain sight, before one vote is cast in the 2026 midterm election. And here he is once again trying to rig the system.
So let's point this out. Texas is allowed. There's nothing in the Constitution that says they can't do it. Texas is absolutely allowed to, whether you like it or not. I don't think it's something I would have done, but he made the call. Abbott said, fine. Texas is allowed to do this. So that's not a rigging. None of that's rigging. You may be using the system to maintain and or grow your position, but you're not doing it illegally. He's not rigging it. And this comes from places where you've heard, Pritzker out there. You've got, look at him here, right? Christian Bale wannabe doing the same damn thing, talking about California has more Republicans than any other state. And they have no chance. Your vote counts for nothing there if you're a Republican. So slow your roll with he's rigging it. That's not happening. What he's doing and what they're doing is absolutely legal.
He doesn't play by a different set of rules. He doesn't believe in the rules. And as a consequence, we need to disabuse ourselves of the way things have been done. It's not good enough to just hold hands, have a candlelight vigil, and talk about the way the world should be. We have got to recognize the cards that have been dealt.
And the cards that have been dealt to Texas, like it or not, I'm not a big fan, I've said that, this is legal. It's not illegal, it's legal. Don't have to like it, but it's legal. They didn't break the system. They didn't do any of that stuff. They didn't make up some special new rule. And I remind everybody, this will eventually go to the courts, which will always have the final say, because in the end, who wins? Always the lawyers.
And we have got to meet fire with fire. And we've got to be held to a higher level of accountability. So that's what this is about. It's not complicated. We're doing this in reaction to a president of the United States that called a sitting governor of the state of Texas and said, find me 5 seats. We're doing it in reaction to that act. We're doing it mindful of our higher angels and better angels. We're doing it mindful that we want to model better behavior, as we've been doing for 15 years in the state of California with our independent redistricting commission.
And it's so independent now that you've decided that you're going to figure out a way to get around that independence so you can also find 5 seats, because nothing says gerrymandering like gerrymandering. Or, as I always like to say, if you're on the other side, you're just redistricting.
But we cannot unilaterally disarm. We can't stand back and watch this democracy disappear. We can't stand back and watch this democracy disappear district by district all across this country, not just in Texas, but in Missouri, where J.D. Vance went just a week ago, in Indiana, in places like Ohio, in places like Florida. We need to stand up, not just California. Other blue states need to stand up. We need to be firm in our resolve.
And even the other day, you had was it the governor of Massachusetts coming out, go, we might have to do something. And you're like, what are you going to do? You have 9 congressional seats, all blue. 2 senators, blue. From top to bottom, in the governor, the AG, lieutenant, all the way down, all blue. You have 5, count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5 congressional seats for Republicans in the state house, and that's it. You have no statewide anything that is red. And 40% of the vote was for Trump. So what are you going to do? Are you just going to make stuff up now? We're going to go house to house? All right, this block over here. That's the problem. I would love to see, and we've talked about that, we modeled several different things, including drawing it up by which I thought would be very interesting, drawing it up by, for the most part, almost equal distribution. So if it's 700,000 over here, it's going to be 700,000 over here. It's going to be seven. And there's not going to be any branches. There's not going to be any tributary. There's not going to be any of that stuff. That's the way it would be. Think of it like equal cake or whatever it is, equal size puzzle pieces. And I would love to see that. Is it still going to be a wee bit gerrymandered? Yeah, because states themselves are going to be a little bit more right or a little bit more left. In some cases, a lot of right, in some cases, a lot of left. But it will put a lot more seats in play. There's a good chance that several seats would flip, and it would be nearly where we are now. But to gerrymander the gerrymandering, it sucks because they're picking us. We're not picking them, which means the upper hand is with them, the donors, to do whatever they want to do because they have no fear of losing out. Now, when there are people that usually lose their seat, they lose it in the primary. So really, it's red versus blue, not person versus person. Not better ideas to win. It's who's figured out how to draw the map that makes you secure. Follow me across all social media. It doesn't cost anything to just subscribe. I appreciate if you do that there. Share this when you can. And definitely check me out tomorrow. Going to be on, as usual, 6 to 9 Pacific, 9 to noon Eastern. You can check out ChadBensonShow.com. We've got our show, live radio show tomorrow. And then we're going to be probably doing some stuff this weekend as well. As we've got some of our stuff in. We're just going to start putting it back up as we moved into the new studio. You guys have a blessed night. We'll do it again tomorrow.